Okay, we resume with the laws of Ribis from Shulchan Aruch HaRav, and introducing all the conceivable forms of Ribis that there are. So now we're going to learn how there could be issues of Ribis sometimes in contracting a worker. It says, now to give money to a worker in advance, and this is so as he should give you a discount. So you paid all up front, but as we're going to learn, it's happy that it was ahead of time. Like you're going to give him money in September for him to give you a discounted rate that he's going to do for you in October. It says it's like you're extending a loan today. That you're extending a loan that he should give you a discount for what he's charging, and that's the Ribis. The Ribis is the discount. So he's going to work off the loan, but he's going to give you more work for the same amount of money that he would do less work for that amount of money for someone else. Because and the reason it's like this, why is this look like a loan? Because the halacha is that a worker is allowed to, unless stipulated black and white in a contract, right? A worker can always quit. But you paid him already, so he owes you that money. So he could easily convert that money into a loan by quitting on you. He has to pay that money back. So that money can easily be converted into a loan, and therefore, because of how it can easily be converted a loan, we look at it as a loan. And if he's working, he's giving you a discounted rate, as in giving you more work for the same amount of money. For more work for that amount of money than he would give any other guy. So it's like Ribis. And this bencho schir yom magdal scharf bencho zakabos bencho schir yom magdal scharf neish ayom shosabo. Now this is in two ways. Now you could like contract them for a whole project, right? You're going to build me a house in the month of November, and here is I'm giving you all the money up front in the month of October. You got it all in advance. So I want a discount, right? So since you could easily quit and just have to give that money back as a loan, it'll be as if it was a loan. And because of that, it looks like Ribis when he gives you, more work for the same money than he would give anyone else. And this is whether it was kablanut, that you contract him for a project, you paid him for a whole project up front, or whether you gave him, he's a day worker, a day laborer, say, okay, you're going to work for me on tomorrow, right? Tomorrow you're going to report for duty. I'm paying you in advance. And now since I'm paying you in advance, I want you to, instead of working 9 to 5, you're going to work from 9 to 7 because I paid you in advance. All right, so he's giving you more work for the same amount of money. And again, it looks like Ribis on a loan because he could easily quit and just owe you the money. So, and therefore, it looks like he's giving you more for your money, right? It looks like a loan is giving you more for your money. All the stuff coming vafilu sechir shana skizos shas vasov zaitim lo kedei shiyazil lo bescharo ein bezem mishum Ribis klal shay Ribis ein lo scham tar schachov or schach does priya schachov mutali staker ela sheim eino osem miyad shekima mos nasa chovalav nir kilvo masho beschar malacha nir lo kiu beschar tar schachov alva. But if he started work already, right? He's commencing work immediately, right? So commencing work immediately, of course, I'm paying you before your wages are due, and I want a discount for that. That's mutter. That's what we said. It's users, like we said. It's dafka because he's not going to work until some other time, later. Not a me. He's not starting work when you give him the money. He's not starting work when you give him the money. So since he's not starting when you give him the money, so it's like you lent him the money and he's paying you back with ribis. But if he's starting work immediately or he started already, you advance him, say, look, hey, I advanced you. That's worth money. Give me a discount for that. That's not a problem of ribis whatsoever. Or you give him money before it's due to get a discount, it's fine. It's just when you gave him money even before he was working that it looks like a loan, and therefore getting a discount for that, getting more work for the same money looks like ribis. It's because when you advanced him the money before he started work at all. But if you advance the money as he's starting work or while he's already working, and you say, hey, I want a discount for this, okay, that's mutter. All right. And that makes no difference whether you are contracted for a long time or whether you contracted them for a project. Either way, if the work has started already and you advance him his wages before it's actually due, and therefore you expect a discount, that's okay if he's already working. The problem that we mentioned before is solely because you advanced him the money literally in advance before he started work. That's why that money looks like a loan, and getting a discount is like getting ribis on a loan. When do we say all this? When I'm hiring a person to do work. But if I'm renting something, I am renting a house, or I'm renting an animal, or I'm renting a horse, or renting a cow to plow, an ox to plow, or vessels. In maklos man skusum yachi kibo mi mena mos bech midaka knosh skers niggas bam so go bam achser bom minadin ko bais bechazor bam kem b'mashicha abi she'eno matlu shtamish by lachas wine et dos mos your kalva elagdamas prias schirusu. There's a Rishubas Klam, much with all skills, Bishak, Tamasa, Korim Zman Chiva Sheila Vasof. Right? Right. So now, by a human, by a vessel or a real estate, you see, we Dafka said that by a human being, hiring him, it looks like ribis if you advance him the money prior to his starting work. Prior to his starting work, it looks like you lent him money, and now he's paying you back, with ribis by giving you the more work for the same money. Got it. All right. But now that's because, and we said, as opposed to if he actually started work already, this is not a loan. This is business. Okay. So now by these objects, an animal, right, a vessel, or real estate, where I'm renting it. Okay. So now even, let's say I am renting it. I'm doing a rental contract now. This month of October for the month of November. But I did it in a way where it's final. The deal is final, like karka, right? So let's say real estate. Well, we sign a rental contract. It's a kinyan star, right? Or I take possession, like I walk into the house, I do a chazaka, right? Even though I'm not going to start living there yet, right? Or buy a behema, I'm renting an animal, the mashicha, the pulling of the animal, right, is a kinyan on the animal for the rental period, right? Or the lifting of the vessel. So now once there's a transaction that the rental is final and you can't back out on me. You back out on me, you pull out like the horse star, you got to give me another horse to use if I rented a horse, right? You can't back out on me. So now it's not that I lent you money. It's no problem, ribis whatsoever. If I give you money now, for the rental period that's gonna be, and I say, look, I gave you all the money up front. I want a discount. Not a problem whatsoever if you sign a rental contract that makes the deal final, because it's not a loan. It's business. It's commerce. It's commerce, right? By a human being, it's giving money in advance of the job starting. It's because he's allowed to renege. So the money is in effect potentially just a loan because he's allowed to walk off. He can't walk off once he started work. Now, once he started work, now it's business, right? I mean, he could walk off in the middle, but he has to settle up with you. But at this point, it's commerce. It's not a loan. Once the job started, but by these things, the house, right, the animal, right, the vessel. So if on the house he did a contract, writing a contract now in October for a rental that starts in November, and here's the money in advance, right? And I want a discount because you're getting it all up front. There's no profits whatsoever because it's commerce, because he can't back out and convert the money into a loan because he can't back out. It's final because they did a kinyan, either kesef, shtar, chazaka on the house is a final kinyan, right? And by the animal, if he did a mashicha on the animal in a place where mashicha works, right? There's a kinyan on the animal for this rental. He can't back out. So that money cannot be converted into a loan. It's business, and this was the deal. You get the money in advance, I get a cheaper rate. It's business. And the same thing with the vessel for you do a hagbah, right? Right. Right. So the delineation is clear. Since there's no backing out, there's no way you could view this advancement of the money as a loan. And therefore, it's strictly business. This is the way we do business. You get the money up front, you give me a cheaper rate. It's not a problem of Ribis whatsoever because the deal was final, even though the deal hasn't, is not going to happen. But the kinyan on the deal is final. And therefore, it's business. It's not, it's commerce. It's, the way we do business. It's not taking interest on the loan. All right. I think I explained this enough times. Just go back 2-3 minutes and listen to this again. If it's not clear the way I explained it, just listen to it again. Because I'm just going to say the words again, same words again. Not only that, a person is even allowed to stipulate this quite openly, right? Like this, let's say again the rental of the house, and I'm sure this happens every single day. There's no problem for this whatsoever. If you tell a person, listen, if you're going to pay me, that's what you're taking rental of the year, right? If you're going to pay me month in, month out, right? It's going to be a seller, let's say $1,000 a month, let's just say, right? So it's going to end up going to be a grand total of, $12,000 for the year rental. But if you give me the whole money up front, $10,000, right? Not a problem of Ribis whatsoever, right? Because like this, in a rental, minadin, you only pay for the rent at the end, right? So really, minadin, the rent is only due on the last day of the 12th month, right? That's when it was due, right? That's when, the schar was due. You just paid it back early. You paid it back early. You paid back early. I could give you a discount. I could give you a discount for paying back early. Paying back, what the rental amount for give you back early. That's, there's no problem giving a discount if a person paid you back early. That doesn't make taking the regular price at the right time Ribis, because it's not really due until the end. It's not really due. So the real price is $12,000 for the year, but it's not due till the end of the year. Okay, you pay me back early. Okay, so fine, pay me back early. So since you gave it to me early, I'll give you a discount, and it'll be $10,000 for the year. There's no problem with that whatsoever. All right. וזה שאומר קודם שיקנה השכירוס בערך בדרכי הקנוע, אבל אם כבר קונה בערך מדרכי הקנוע, מנה שיפעלו עכשיו 10 סלעים, 10 שכר ולא תיתן לי לבסוף, או לאחר זמן מה, או מדי חורש בחודש, או לך ביוב בסל, סל חורש, שכן כבר הקנה בעניין שמן הדין, אין אחר מהם יכול לחזור בו שלא לפרום מעכשיו, נסברון זה חוב עליו, כשעשו בשביל שיינצל הרי זה ריבס כמורה, ושעשו מן הטרף שבדרך סחיר, שמוסו סחירוס יויזר. But here's the thing, right? Let's say, the situation was reversed. The way we discussed it was they closed on $12,000 for the year. If you want to pay up front, okay, it's 10. Good. let's say the situation was reverse, right? They closed the deal, they signed, shook hands, whatever was the kinyan, right? They made a final kinyan. They made a final kinyan on giving $10,000 up front for the whole year. They signed on it. They agreed on that. And the renter, says, he says to the landlord, no, can do. I thought I can do it. I can't. I really can't. I don't got the money. I thought I did. I don't have it, or I need the money for something else. Makes no difference. So the landlord says, all right, you know what? If you can't keep the agreement and you want to pay $1,000, so that'd be $1,000. About there'll be 12,000. That's Ribis Gomor, because you are taking money for his delaying payment, and the Rav, the Baal Tanya seriously thinks that this may even be Ribis D'Oraisa, even though it's done in the setting of not of a loan, but of a rental. He's open to the idea that this might be Ribis, D'Oraisa, right? Because listen, he's saying, okay, because we agreed, 10,000 up front. Because you're delaying paying me what you owe me, you're going to pay for that. That's Ribis. You're taking money for the delayment of payment. Taking money for delayment of payment is Ribis. So even though it's done in the settings of renting, you're taking money for delay of payment. That's Ribis. So he says Ribis more definitely vadai also, and he says efshur is even minatira, despite the fact that it was done in the context of not a loan but of a rental agreement. Okay. So remember, if you ever want to give a discount, you always say, look, it's 12,000 if you ever want to do it to make sure no problem, Ribis, always the paying up front for less. The paying up front for less has to be, the chiddush, right? You have to close on a regular annual rate, and you pay either monthly or at the end of the year. And then the chiddush is, you know what? Forget it. I want to pay up front. Give me a discount for that. Okay, that's good. But do it the other way around. Closing a binding deal for 10,000 up front and then say, I can't do it. Let it be 12 a year. That's Ribis. Okay. Okay, now we're going to talk about dowries. You see, you'd be surprised. Ribis just crops up. Wherever there's money, there may be Ribis. If not the Raisa, then the Rabbanan. Now we're going to talk about problems of the dunya in dowries. Look, in Israel, this is big business. In America, I don't know. I think it depends on the circles, how much, dowry, who gives what. Yeah. No, but in Israel, it's big business what people obligate to give for weddings. It's still done the old-fashioned way. Okay. So now listen. You ask for a dowry. My son is big Talmud Chacham. Listen, you want my son as a son-in-law. You got to give the young couple. Sometimes even the parents used to charge, but that's not. You got to throw. Let's assume it's going to the couple. You got to give the young couple $12,000. For to build their family. Give them $12,000. Let's say. So now you cannot say, okay, listen, hey, it was due. Listen, let's tonight. I say, okay, you're going to give that $12,000 a week before the chasana. It should be in their bank account, their joint bank account. He didn't make the father of the bride, couldn't make dowry on time. So okay, you were late. Give a little bit more. That's Ribis. Right, and this is, after they wrote up the time, like they used to do in the good old days, when they got engaged, they wrote time for real. Now, Bisman Azed, to avoid all these problems, we just do the Tanaim 2 minutes before the chuppah when it's just like a formality. Zecher the Tanaim, we don't do the Tanaim by the engagement anymore because it's a real legally binding contract. People realize they're getting into big trouble. Again, of course, it depends on the circles here. In some circles, they still do real Tanaim, with a Gemar Kinyan at the engagement. All right, but whenever the Tanaim, there are the conditions that are agreed upon, are written up, that the father of the bride actually obligates himself for certain penalties if he doesn't pay the dowry, right? So okay, so there's certain there's certain fines if you back out, right? So also litain revach eloy shows man pro cost time. So now it's right, but you could stipulate penalties if you don't pay, but you can if the guy reneges, right? If the guy reneges, so there's penalties, and that's why we don't do these tonight anymore until it's like really a done deal and they're both going to the chuppah, just 5 minutes later. But so listen, there could be penalties if you renege, if you break the agreement. That's one thing. But there can't be penalties. You got to pay more if you didn't make the deadline. There can't be like added payments for not having made the deadline. Ribis Gemura, and that's Ribis Deiraisa, to impose a penalty for not having made the deadline, because it's a loan. I mean, in the sense that in loans that now the father of the bride owes money. He owes money. He signed off. So it's like a loan, because even though he didn't get money, but he signed off that he owes money. So he owes money, and now he's paying money for having delayed the loan. That's Ribis. Now, even though you say, but wait, I didn't borrow money, makes no difference, right? Once he signed off, it's like artificially as if he borrowed money, because he owes money. He owes money as if he borrowed money, and to make the father of the bride pay more because he missed the deadline, that's Ribis Gomor, and you have to find a mutter way to do it. And we will explain. So we're going to talk about Heter Iska and other ways, but just to say, if you don't pay on time, you're going to pay late fees. Late fees are, that's Ribis Gomor, because he owes the money and you make him pay more because he delayed in paying back, or you're charging him for having the money stay by him. Ribis Gemura. Now, how do you do it in a way that's mutter? We will discuss later. Okay, that's coming up later. Okay, Mechira Ba'akofar. Now we're going to deal with yet another thing. And wherever there's money, there could be a problem of Ribis. Now, buying on credit. How buying, I don't know which anyone understands. So buying on credit means you owe the money for what you took from the store, right? You owe the money for what you took from the store. It can easily be viewed as Ribis, because you owe money. So even though, again, this is all midrabanan, because it's really commerce, but it looks like a loan instead of rabbanan. So every time it looks like a loan, they impose Ribis to rabbanan. So you took something on credit, now you owe money, right? And so we're going to learn about that right now, how buying things on credit could be a real pothole, right? Right. So listen to this, in commerce. So let's say like this. We'll talk about a way where it's mamish osir midaraisa, right? You bought, so you don't dafka by metalta, by movable objects. Kesef is not final. Midrabanan. Let's say we pass Rabbi Yochanan that dvar Torah mos konos. That'd be deraisa. You own it after you gave money, which by Reish Lakish argues. We pass Rabbi Yochanan, I do believe. Dvar Torah mos konos, but it's not final until you do a mashicha. But mashicha is final. So let's say you're in the store, right? Or chalipin is final. You do a kin chalipin for the item that you're buying, kin chalipin, or you pick it up. You do a hagba on it. Let's say. Or you do a mashicha in the public domain, the types of public domains where mashicha works. Okay, so now it's final, and then okay, well, where's the money? All right, so it's yours now. Fine, $50, please. I don't have it. I'll have to owe it to you. Well, if you don't have it right now, I want you to give me a 10% extra. Give me 55. Right? Ribis Gemor, so that is Ribis Deiraisa, he paskins. That is, because, listen, you say, well, it's commerce. No, it isn't commerce, because the sale was final and the sale was done without money. Right? The sale was done with a mashicha, or a hakba, or a chalipin, however it was done, right? The sale is done and over with. It's a done deal. You owe money. It's a chayiv. You owe money. The sale is done and over with. right? You owe money for a sale that's done and over with. So it's not commerce. You owe $50 for a sale that's final, right? And so now the seller can't say, if you don't got the $50 right now, that I want 55. That's Ribis Gemura, because the money is not the money of commerce. It's the money of a debt, because the commerce was done already. And so to say, well, if you don't have the $50 now, I want 55. That's Ribis Gemura Shel Torah. Okay. That's after the sale was final and you owe the money. So it's mamash a debt, and you can't charge the guy for delaying paying the debt. There's one plenty biyud bays. Right? But that's all what we said, if the sale was final. But let's say they're negotiating. They're negotiating. Say this, look, buddy, tell you what, if you give it to me the money up front, it's only 10. But if you're going to wait because you need time, then it's 12. So that's Ribis to Rabbanan. So of course it's business, right? It's business, commerce, but it looks like Ribis, and the rabbis outlawed it. To say two prices, this is the price up front, this is the price if you want to delay, that's Ribis to Rabbanan. Now, even though, let's say, it really is worth 12. It really is worth 12. He said, but you don't give me the money up front, you get it for 10. Also, Shema Vakra, it still looks like, right? It still looks like Ribis, still has the dust of Ribis, right? The fish smart to Mekach Eno Kizmana Schirus, Elohu Miad Shekana. Halokeach, Ima Lokech Meno Bestam, Bitch Lokech Bioker, Bezov, Zeshfar Shosel, Bad Chamtil, Zmanpoi, Nekros Chabam Toras Chov, Shenitz Chayev Lo, Kishakona Mimeno. Right? Because the bottom line is like this. It's not like the case. You say, well, didn't you tell me that by renting, it's, we spoke about that you could say two prices like this, while they're talking. So no, it's different by renting. By renting, you don't owe the money until the end, like we explained. Over here, the sale is final. At the time you pick up the object and walk out with it, right? The sale is final. The money is a pure, debt right now. So even though it's debt for commerce, but it looks like you made a deal with him, it's a debt because the sale is final right here, right now, and the money is payable now. The money is immediately due. And you're telling him because you decide to take the long way around, you're going to pay more. That's like lending with Ribis. So he admits over here it's mid-rabbanan because this was the way we're doing business. I'm selling this to you. It's like it's worth this amount. If you pay right now, it's worth that amount. And even if the higher price is what it's really worth, it's still Ribis mid-rabbanan because it looks so much like Ribis because the sale is final. The money is due immediately, and it looks like you're charging him for his delaying and paying you back. It's not domed to real estate where the rent is only due at the end, not due now. Over here, it's due now, and you're saying because you're not paying me now, you're charging more. Okay. Raise now this goes even further. Let's say you didn't say two prices. You didn't say two prices. You did not say two prices, right? It's like one of these like wink wink nudge nudge things. Like, listen, we both know it's only this is all unspoken. This is the quiet part that stayed quiet, right? We both know it's only worth 10, right? Problem is you don't got the 10. Right? So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Tell you what, it's 12. You'll pay me when you can. It's also Ribis to Rabbanan because it's kind of understood, that you're charging more because he's delaying paying. Right? שמוכר בעקוף, ואין אוכל אחר מוכר לאכל אחר לוקח להחמיר, של קרן עושה דבר של פחוס פחוס בייס, שהוא שווה עכשיו, and שהוא most of most. And let's say you take it even further, like let's take even further of how far the Rabbanan slapped Ribis on this case. In this case we just mentioned. Let's say it's a non-perishable item, right? It's an item that's about to be discontinued. It's about to be discontinued, right? It's a type of contraption that's this is the last one. After that, since it's going to be discontinued, the price is going to go up. Okay, so right now it's worth 10, and the buyer doesn't have 10, right? And the seller is a rich guy. He doesn't need the money so badly. He doesn't need, and not only that, when it goes up in price, right? When it goes up in price, it'll probably be when you finish by. So you can now pay. Let's say you're going to pay one a month. So yeah, at the end of the year it'll be 12. And by the time you finish off paying for it, Itaka was worth 12. Right? It's going to go up. It's not going to perish. By the time you finish paying up for it, it will still be extant. It will still be around, and it will be worth 12 at that time, right? And the seller didn't really make anything off of this, right? Right, because when you finally paid off for it, that's what it was worth. The seller was rich; he really didn't need the money badly, right? Right. The bottom line is, even though the seller didn't make money in the end, he didn't really profit big time because you delayed. Because by the time you finished paying for it, it really was worth 12. And the seller really didn't need the money. I don't know why that's a factor over here. Doesn't help. We look at it from the buyer's perspective. He ended up paying 12 because he couldn't pay on time, which is when the money was due upon taking the object. It is still Ribis Midrabanan, as we explained. Okay. We will stop here for today.